The information discussed on Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for...
Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin' money. Talkin' money. More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
Yeah, how you doing?
Turn on the switch.
I thought I did hit the button there. Your button is apparently working. You know, my shoulder is still jacked up from France.
From France?
Yeah.
That was like a
6
year
months?
ago, wasn't it?
It was a year. I don't know. If I was actually any sort of an athlete, I'd probably get this looked at. But you're just sitting around,
stretching
out. You probably don't need to go through any kind of intensive rehab. I did that with my knee one time. Blew out my knee motorcycle riding, and the doctor looked at me and goes, you'll never be a pro athlete. Go home.
Don't worry about it.
He sticks a big old needle and sucks all the blood out of it and goes, you'll be fine. Let her rip. So I guess I won't be pitching for the anybody this weekend. Anyway, how you doing? We are back live. That's Talkin' Money. This is Talkin' Money. That's John. I'm Jeff. 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140 is the number here in the studio. You can text us if you want at 441140. We start every show the same way. Great political risk by bringing him out of the closet and onto the radio with his enthusiasm that just boils over every minute. He's still got the same hat from last week. Have you actually showered since I've seen you last week, or did you just put that hat back on?
It just looks like I haven't showered.
Look, it got you.
It takes very hard to keep that look going on.
It does. Anyway, I'll keep my comments myself. What's happening?
Not much. This Thursday was the NFL draft, and I got to say it is the most overrated sports event in history. It's basically like it's a lottery system. Hey, and it's okay to I don't care if you watch it on TV or that, but these people that get so intense about it, I got to get home. I have to take the day off. I got to see who my team's going to draft. I got to look up what their stats were in college, what their stats were in high school, what their stats were in Pee-wee football. Oh my God, my team made a terrible choice. What were they thinking? If you take 2 days off of work to watch the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft, you are a loser. So I just can't stand. I mean, I remember probably about 10 years ago, it was a Saturday morning, and it was kind of something you had on in the background until a baseball game started. And now it's this whole primetime event. People on Twitter that are football analysts are saying, we don't want to spoil it for you, so we're not going to tell you who the teams pick before the commissioner comes out and picks it. So I'm just done with it.
I thought they used to do it on the weekend because they used to interrupt this show, because they could tell you who the next pick was, and they'd have a little bio on him. The Seattle Seahawks pick. And now they're doing it during the week, so I guess it's all about
and it's got to be primetime TV. We got to make sure that it's on at 8 o'clock on the East Coast.
Exactly, and that brings up a point, and I haven't got. So I'm collecting all these articles here, and I think I'm going to try to run down. I might even see if maybe Mike Lamb will come on and talk to us a little bit. But I'm collecting a number of articles behind the scenes, what's going on with the NFL and the whole players union and those lawsuits and the ongoing medical expenses is a huge deal, and it just hasn't quite made it to the primetime news yet, unless you happen to be following. But it is my contention is, and mark my words, that 20 years from now, the NFL as we know it will not exist. It will not. It will have been put out of business by former players, or it will have put itself out of business. But it'll in some way it will have to change, because you start looking at some of these young guys now, not guys that are 17 or 80 that are having problems, but guys that are 38 and 40 that can't walk. And you look around. And if I had a son, would I put him in football? Probably not. Actually, if I had a son, or that had showed any level of skill at all, I'd probably tape his right hand to his body so he could never use it and make him a left-handed pitcher, or give him a golf club and let him go after his sisters, or be a golfer. I mean, why on earth would you put? And it's hard because it is the glory sport. You look at any high school, all the money comes to, you name it.
Right.
And it is where the all the glory and the thing come from. But, man, it is
brutal. It
is just there's nothing good about it for your body. And I've just been collecting these different articles and different things, and we're gonna do a little show from some former players and have them come on, and I'm just kind of putting that together now. But my contention is that the NFL will become a glorified rugby league in the future. It will have to, in order for them to meet, to cut back on the injuries and the problems there.
30 years ago, these guys were 260 pounds and slow.
Yeah.
Now that's an average linebacker who runs a 4.5 40.
Yeah. Now you're getting hit by a small vehicle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, fat guy fell on you in the 40s. You got up and damn, Billy, get off me. I done broke my finger. Now you get hit by some of these guys, and it is the equivalent of getting hit by a small. These guys weigh more than some of the cars that are on the road now. The smart car, I'd rather get hit by a smart car. Damn, what was that? Oh, it's a smart car. You'll be all right. Shake it off.
You dented it.
Shake it off. You'll be good. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the NFL. But I guess if the more parents become aware of what happens to their kids, then that you don't put them in Pop Warner. If you don't do Pop Warner, you generally don't do high school. If you don't do high school, then likely you don't do college. If you don't do college, the NFL's got squat. So I don't know. There's
still a lot of people out there, and that's the thing to do.
No, all of Texas could care less about what I have to say. I'm either going to bale hay all day, dude, or someone's going to run me over for $4 million a year. So run me over. So I get it. But I think there are going to be some changes that are coming. So we'll cover that a different day. But I am kind of working on that a little bit because it's a fascinating story behind the story, and this is why I didn't make it.
Is that why you didn't play football? Okay.
Yeah, I was because I apparently if I go skiing and I fall off a 4-foot section, I'm gimping for 6 months. So it's still it's all good. Hey,
lifetime injury.
God, I don't know why it just will not go away. We have got a load of stuff here. And I think that my contention is that we don't actually do anything through 2 hours, so it just kind of keeps building up. And again, here in the first 10 minutes, we have done absolutely nothing. So you can see I'm continuing my pace of nothingness. This is like the Seinfeld show, but not as funny.
I learned something new this morning.
What'd you do?
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, here it goes.
You got to get propane tanks for your barbecue once in a while, right?
Yes.
There are probably people out running out getting them now for the barbecue this afternoon. Well, I learned today that you can't carry more than 4 propane tanks in your vehicle unless it's a pickup truck. So if you have a pickup truck, you can put 8 in the back of the pickup truck. What's the difference between putting 8 in the back of your Expedition with all the windows open?
And who is the law enforcement on this?
Apparently, the Department of Transportation has an issue with.
But the propane guy wouldn't load your car with more than 4?
If he turns his back, you're allowed to put him in your car.
Okay.
So I learned that this morning.
So and I because I had 5 the other day, but I was driving a pickup truck, and I do think people look at you weird when you're loading like 5 big propane tanks in the back.
What's that guy making?
This is why I don't carry fertilizer with me, because as I explained to you last week, I'm uncomfortable with the amount of fertilizer it takes to blow something up because I'm not a scientist. And so, as we mentioned last week in last week's show, when they had the full fertilizer plant that blew up because they just don't spend a lot of time storing it properly. Yeah, so I'm the guy when I'm carrying 20 pounds of bag of fertilizer, I'm driving around like I'm carrying a nuclear bomb. Don't hit me for love. But I did have quite a bit of propane, and I don't use my propane for the barbecue. My barbecue
because you don't have one.
Well, that's a start. That's a good point. I don't currently have a barbecue. I have a barbecue. It's in a box.
In the garage.
In the garage right now, but it hooks up. But I use the propane only for the either. Anybody else use the mosquito magnet? Anybody else have the mosquito magnet? No. You don't.
I need one. Remember I was telling you that the other day.
Yeah, you can't. Gotta
have one.
This is the single best. You can't use a little candle that tracks mosquitoes. This is something that runs 24/7 and it kills mosquitoes. What it does, it disrupts the life cycle of them. So it kills enough of them that they don't. Obviously, if you're dead, you can't breed. And that's how that works. I use them basically for that or little patio heaters, but I don't do the barbecue thing.
Gotcha.
But anyway, that's good to know, Mister. So did you actually have 5 in there, and you had to haul ass down the road? Like
I had
you were,
9.
You had 9?
Yeah.
What kind of party are you having?
The elementary school is going on a trip to Yosemite for a week, so we got to cook
you're
for the
bringing
kids
propane
for a
with
week.
you?
Yeah.
You're like Bo and Duke Luke. You'll be hauling down the road.
I'm heisting it.
I wonder if, hey, Chris, get his license number over. There's probably some kind of a tournament program where we get $10
There's probably DOT out front when we leave the office.
Freeze, dude. After you're done barbecuing me a burger, you're under arrest. So anyway, I did not know that. More useless information
See that?
right here. It's phenomenal, dude. Phenomenal. Hey, we got some River Cats to give away. Let me do this right now because if you, Chris, what's the how do you pronounce the Oakland A's guy? Cepedas?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's playing for
Cespedes.
So he's playing for the River Cats tonight.
Could be the last night.
Yeah, I think it's like tonight's like the only night. So we are giving away River Cats tickets today. And because I'm the kind of guy that I am, I will, if you want to go to that game tonight and you win tickets today, I will meet you at my office in Roseville if you want to pick them up. We're giving away a pair. Huh? No, I can't bring them here because I don't have them here. So I've got them out in Roseville. So they'd have to meet them in Roseville. But if you wanted to go to the game tonight and you win some tickets today to see the Oakland A's star, I can meet you in Roseville and give you a pair today, and you can go out tonight. Tonight should be a phenomenal game. I think they do the fireworks on Saturdays too, don't they?
I believe so. Yes.
So anyway, it could be a fun game. Probably will be relatively sold out. And I'm not saying call now to win. I'm saying you have to win the tickets, slackers. You got to answer something. Our questions are basically bare bones idiot questions because John and I find them interesting. So right there at the bottom of the pool of interesting. So if you're a winner, we will we'll meet you and give you some tickets if you want to do that.
And
today.
if you're not, go out there anyway. We were out there on Sunday. Phenomenal night. It's first baseline out at the beer garden. Kids running around. First time my 10-year-old actually watched a baseball game. Usually you go in, it's like hot dog, ice cream, popcorn, cotton candy. Okay, let's go.
My stomach's upset. I got to go today.
This time he's like, hey, Dad, can you go get me a hot dog? Because I'm watching the game. I'm like, who is this kid?
Nice. So we'll do that today, too, if you're interested. Or we have some Roundtable Pizza Artisan Flatbread Pizzas. We can give those away, too. And we'll do all that fun stuff and more. I did see, so I have been I have not been flying as much as I have been lately. So I haven't been caught up yet in the whole FAA sequester delays. But I have picked up a few people up at the airport who, we're about a half an hour late. And honestly, I'm a conspiratist. So I believe that whenever the government screws something up, they're doing it on purpose to just mess with us. And I think generally that's true. But the FAA one really irritated me because, let's be honest. How many of us are in a company, work in a company, own a company, are familiar with a company, somewhere in the last 3 or 4 years that have taken, remember, these guys are taking a 5% reduction, and not all of it comes into effect on day one. How many of us have had to deal with at least a 5% reduction in anything in our lives in the last 2 or 3 years? And to me, the federal government is nothing. The people who are responsible for implementing some reductions are nothing but a bunch of bedwetter whiners. They're just like, we can't do it. It's just impossible. Well, the rest of the world has been doing it with like a damn 50% cut, if not more in some cases. So 5% is nothing. So I was under the impression that the FAA just said, okay, forget it. We're not going to cut our salaries back of our management. We'll just take people out of the towers, and we'll just screw with all you guys because you're making us get our act together. And that may be true, and it may not be true, in all fairness. So there was a fairly lengthy article that came out this week, and the FAA is required to divvy up their budget into categories or actions, they call it. So the FAA took a look at their budget and said, okay, if we're going to be fair, we're going to take 5% out of each of our line items rather than right off the top. And if that's the case, then your controllers are one of your line items. And so they implemented a 5% reduction in their controllers. So I get that then. And if that's the case, and if they were mandated to do that, then they're mandated to do that. This week, both sides of your house, the Republicans and the Democrats, came together and said, you know what? Let's make a rule that the FAA can be discretionary on how they want to cut their money. So maybe they want to cut some other things temporarily and not remove controllers from the booth. So we'll see if that shakes out, if that becomes the law. But they are required to cut $637 million out of their budget entirely, which sounds like a lot of money, but their total budget is $12.5 billion. So that is, in fact, 5%. So we'll see. But it is working that we being the consumer, are getting our point across that we will not put up with reductions in service, reductions in delays in our costs, because a delay to all of us is a delay in business, and that's a cost beyond the 5%. So we'll see if they can shake that out. The Sacramento Bee reported this week that a third of all the flights in the capital were late, and I bet you will see that clean itself up here pretty quick.
Didn't they already reduce that? Didn't they put the folks back in the towers?
Well, I don't know what they're doing. John's right. I
believe they took that back out because they realized that was probably not a good idea.
Well, then we're blaming late flights and other things on that when it isn't that. So I mean,
they just reinstated. I think on Friday.
Okay, so the
House voted. Here it is. The House voted 361 to 41 Friday to allow the FAA to shift $253 million from the accounts to end furloughs that began Sunday.
Okay, good. So there you go. So they figured it out, and we got our point got across, I guess.
But the bill doesn't say precisely how FAA should spend the $253 million. So they're just throwing money around.
Well, if 5% of any company of any size, when you have a 5% reduction, I mean, just from the people that are naturally retiring and quitting, just the attrition and thing. Okay, we won't hire a couple new people. 5% should be able to come off your budget without even a blink of an eye. And if it doesn't, then you have to ask yourself, do we have the right people running the show? Because you can take any private business person and put them with a 5% cut. They won't like it, but they'll figure it out in about a day.
Right.
And the first thing they'll do is make sure that their customer base, their clientele base, isn't affected. They'll do anything else they can but affect the client. And that's the part. And that one and the closing down Washington, the Capitol, to kids is unconscionable to me, because that's ridiculous. You're just throwing it back in the face of the people that are paying, for all these things. But anyway, glad to hear that. I didn't. That article was from Wednesday, and it didn't catch any updates. So hopefully that will resolve some of our problems a little bit. Let's do this. Let's take our first quick break this morning. I've got a ton of real estate stuff to talk about today. Also, if you're thinking about doing a remodel, I wish this article would have come out, 6-7 months ago. Which are the items?
Nobody was remodeling 6 or 7 months ago.
No, you're right. Which are the items that pay you back the most? And you might be shocked to find this out. Also, you're thinking about throwing a big party. You want to impress your friends and neighbors. You want to throw like a Monet painting or something up on the wall. Those cost a couple $1 million. Why don't you just rent one? You can rent some artwork for a big party. They'll go, oh, John's quite the spender.
The player.
And he's still got the crate in the back to return it in a few minutes. So you can rent artwork. We'll talk about that as well. A lot of other things to cover. And your phone calls, 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. You can text me at 441140. Our first quiz of the day. And again, if you want some River Cats tickets, if you want me to just send them to you, then just tell Marge you want them sent to you. If you want to pick them up today, make sure you give her your phone number, and we can arrange to do that. What's your first question there?
So let's talk about craziness. The Syrian Electric Army did a little Twitter hoax, apparently. Or I'd like to hear who really did it, but Twitter hoax. It dropped the Dow Jones average about 145 points.
I saw that.
In an instant.
About 5 minutes, right?
Boom, gone, and then back up.
And the Twitter feed was that I think there was a bomb in the
White House. Was 2 bombs in the White House,
fake.
And I believe the president was hurt.
Fake. This is a fake Twitter announcement. Okay.
So Dow Jones went down 145, 146, 147 points. What was that value in dollars?
So how much is 145 points equal in value?
Yes.
Doesn't sound like much. 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. This is Talkin' Money. We're going to be
right back, Jack.
Talkin' money, talkin' money.
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Right. The chocolate chip cookies are starting to hit our bloodstream.
Coming on strong.
Should be good to go here. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text me at 441140. So the stock market this week dropped. How many millions or billions of dollars was that in loss?
About $200 billion of value.
$200 billion of value in 5 minutes this week. So our quiz question is, what caused a $200 billion loss in 5 minutes this week? 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can. Yes, I did.
Yeah. Seeing who's paying attention.
Yes, I did. So it's a trick question, and if you're listening, it's a super easy question. And your choice, you want some tickets to the Sacramento River Cats, we got that. If you want to go tonight to see Mr. Cespedes, who's the Oakland A star who's playing in the Rivercat Stadium, we can send you there. I can meet with you to get some tickets, or you can text us at 441140. Either way, let that question hang out there. Again, stock market dropped about 145 points, but that was 200 what? How much?
Billion.
$200 billion
in value.
So, but the stock market's like at 14,000.
$200 billion of value from the U.S. stock market.
Was lost in 5 minutes. It was regained in 5 minutes also.
Correct.
So if you didn't sell in that 5-minute window, good for you. And if you did, you're feeling, I guess you could rebuy a little later, but that would do you. And that's the problem with that program trading. If you had some stocks in there, all of a sudden you're like, oh no, boom, you sell, and then oh no, you sell again. So what caused that? If you know the answer to that, 339-1140, we'll take that as well. I did see, hey Chris, what are we expecting as far as the announcement for the Kings issue? Do you know?
They're meeting now on Monday. They're supposed to have a meeting on Monday, and then it'll probably be a week after that.
Okay, so sometime around sometime in the 1st of May.
They said the first week of May or the second week of May.
Okay.
Or the third week of May.
Or the 4th. Or sometime in June, or we'll get back with you a little bit before the season starts. I did catch this. This is a pretty cool. So my vision, or how I think, and how I think the planners envision the new mall with the arena and all that stuff too, is very similar to the LA Live area where Staples is. They're actually planning a football. Are they still planning that football stadium? Is that Is that going? Yeah, it's going to go right behind there. And then there's like the Kodak Theater there, and then there's like a ESPN Sports Zone. You been there? You been to that?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
yep.
And then in behind it is the Ritz-Carlton. And last time when I was there, which was 3 years ago, I was there for hockey. The Ritz was just kind of being finished. It wasn't quite open yet. And you have to envision an area. And I'm not from LA, and I wasn't down there a lot. But the people who used to frequent that area a lot, particularly where Staples is now, will tell you that prior to that area, this was a very, very unsafe. It was just a poor area. I mean, just a poor area to be in and around. It was just not a good place.
I was there in 2003, and it was basically the Staples Center, and that's it.
So when they just built it.
Yeah, so you have the Staples. It was around 3 years. So you have the Staples Center, which is like awesome.
Yeah.
But everything around it was just old, rundown, closed.
Yeah. And now you go in there, and it's just. I mean, that whole LA Live area is really a lot of fun. And then you have the Ritz-Carlton that went in behind it. So this was an article which I think will happen to Sacramento. And they talk about all of the people who've come in. So the Ritz is basically a hotel for the first 3/4 of it. The last quarter of it are residences, so you can live in there. And they look at all the different baseball players and soccer players and business people and people who've bought homes in there, and they run in the $2 to $3 million range. But why do they would never ever live there in the time what Chris was talking about, when the very beginning of Staples, they wouldn't even drive down there if they didn't park underneath the building. And now they're living in the area down there too. And you just look at the intense development that's gone on around it, and the people who want to be around the area. This is where I think that West Sacramento has a good jump on us if they start building some studios and some condos around the River Cats, the baseball stadium there and on the river, and if you put a baseball or a new Arco Arena, I call it, a new arena, new entertainment complex right downtown in the mall, what will come around it will be phenomenal. I mean, it'll help both sides of the river too, because people want to be around activities and where you can walk to them and you can get to them easily. And this is quite the hub. And this article, if you didn't catch it, you can catch it in the Wall Street Journal this Friday. What they call their mansions page, and it just goes through all of the different great things that have happened up around because of Staples and all the activity and the hub of activity that goes on down there too. And it brings in millions and millions of dollars of home buyers and investments. So from that standpoint alone, if you don't care a lick about basketball, and I don't, if you do or don't, I don't care. I don't go to that much basketball anymore either. But I like all the things that come with it, which is the redevelopment, reinvestment, new money, new activity, new concerts, all the fun things that go with it, and to be around there, I think it will be phenomenal. And unfortunately,
and it's a great location for it. You got the waterways. There's so much there to offer.
Yeah, and you need an anchor tenant of somebody. I wish it was in the NHL. I wish it was hockey. That would be awesome. But that's just me. But you need a tenant. to finance off the back of. And so for those of you who say we're doing this for basketball, basketball is just our tenant. Let's keep them. Let's use them as an anchor tenant, and let's build off of that. And I don't care if you ever go to a game. I may or may not. I probably will if they get a new arena.
Definitely.
But all the other things that come there and come around it will benefit our whole area quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope it goes for that aspect alone. A couple things that came up this week. Speaking of spending lots of money, so did they put a tab on the new arena? Was it 500?
It's about 390 million.
390 million. Okay. So I have an idea. I'm a thinker.
Boy.
We need to get so President Obama has 3 more years. Yeah, because 3.5 more years. And then he's going to have to build a presidential museum because that's what presidents do. They build a museum. So I'm looking here at the cost of the last 5 museums, presidential museums. And I'm thinking what we need to do is talk to the Obama museum team about doing a joint Obama museum, presidential library, and arena. Because you look at this, Jimmy Carter, he spent, and I don't mean he, but right. Jimmy Carter, his presidential library is in Atlanta. It is 70,000 square feet, and it costs $26 million to build. A reasonable price. Ronald Reagan in Simi Valley. Have you ever, anybody else been here to Reagan's museum? I highly suggest you go see it. I don't care whether you like Reagan or you do not like Reagan. It doesn't make any difference. It is the coolest museum, what places I've ever been, and they've got the full Air Force One in the hangar out back, and his helicopter and his limos, and you can go through Air Force One, the one that was there. So it is very cool. That whole structure cost $60 million, and you look at it and you think it should cost more than that. George H.W. Bush, the first Bush, spent $43 million on his in Texas. Bill Clinton in Arkansas spent $165 million. That was just the house of the dress. And George W. Bush, who just opened up his today in Dallas, Texas, 226,000 square feet, $250 million, $250 million. So I'm thinking that Obama, if you extrapolate out, President Obama's presidential library 3 years from now is going to be in the. He's not going to stand for having something lesser than Bush. You just know that. So Bush spent $250. So let's go $350. He spends $350 million on the library. We only need another $150. You said 5, Chris?
390.
Oh, 390. Oh, hell, we're there. That's $40 million. We can raise that by selling bricks on the outside of the wall. So we need $40 million. It'll be the Sacramento Kings / Obama Presidential Library and Entertainment Complex.
I like the idea.
Dude, we
you
are
need
there.
To call somebody.
I don't have to call somebody. I just said it. It's on the air.
Everybody knows.
It's in the public airways now. We are done. So
situation
resolved.
Care of.
I hope the president likes purple. That's probably the only downside. But we'll throw in some. As you go around, like to the hot dog stand, you can see different things he's done. It could be all around the outside. I think we're there. So I have solved the financing issues. Again, if you need anything else resolved, please call me between the hours of 9 and 11 on Saturday, because after 3 chocolate chip cookies, I can figure it out. But there you go, $250 million for the presidential library, and we'll do that here locally too. A couple things that came up. We're going to take a break in just a minute. Did we get some winners for our quiz? Yeah. And did they all want River Cats, or 2 of them did? Okay. So the answer was to our multi-billion-dollar meltdown for 5 minutes was what?
The Twitter hoax.
The Twitter hoax. Did you mention that they think they know who did that, or did you not say that?
Yeah, I did. They say that the Syrian Electric Army group of hackers who claimed responsibility for yesterday's hoax said that they were flabbergasted that it created such chaos. Honestly, we didn't think anyone would believe it. With that being said, on Twitter and all.
Yeah, but they hacked into AP's account. It wasn't like they just put their own tweet out that says, "Hi, my name's Bill. Guess what happened?" They actually got into the Associated Press account. So I could see that. I see that happening. And who is the Syrian Electric Army? That sounds like an old 80s rock band.
So here's the Twitter spokesperson.
David Lee Roth is now lead singer for the Syrian Electric Army.
The Twitter spokesperson says, in a few short years, Twitter has evolved from a mere waste of time into a force capable of massive havoc and destruction. We're excited to see what Twitter does next.
Yeah, we're going to bring down a building. Twitter is a waste of time. I mean, the next time I tweet something will be the first time. So anywho, okay, so that's what caused a couple $100 billion recovery. If you could just figure that out next time when they're going to do it, you could sell, buy, and then sell again all in 5 minutes. You'd have a ton of money. You could figure that out. We got to take a break again, don't we? Again, we've gone through 2 segments. We've done nothing but other cookies and Twitter hoaxes and River Cats tickets. And I got all kinds of stuff here today. What do you got next on your list there?
Well, there's a lot of...
I don't know. This is why I'm
We're going to talk
you.
potato chips.
So, why not? Now we're back in Chris's wheelhouse. Chris, turn your microphone on and actually give him...
I think this is pretty interesting, actually. So Pringles has come up with a variety of different flavors, and they're selling in different countries. The most unique, I think, is in Asia, right? What do you think the most popular Pringles flavor is in Asia?
Asia. So something teriyaki or something.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It'd be blueberry and hazelnut Pringles.
Disgusting.
So we're going to make it easy for you folks here in the United States of America.
Read me some other. What else you got there? Give me like another flavor. Wasn't there one?
The Middle East.
Yeah.
Hot and spicy.
Okay. I thought there was like a seaweed one or something.
Japan is the French. I can't even pronounce it. It's a mild salt, umami, savory, broth-like flavor.
Oh, you're selling me on that one.
Yes.
Wasn't there one that was like a salt and seaweed or?
Yeah, that'd be the United Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, theirs is prawn cocktail flavor.
These are Pringles?
These are Pringles.
So you have got to have a lot of beer in you before you eat prawn. Anyway, okay. Go.
I had the other day, they had something out that my wife thought would be interesting, and they were bacon syrup flavored potato chips. No, bacon waffle.
Oh, bacon waffle?
It's terrible. Just weird. Every time you got to taste it again, is that really what that tastes like?
Yeah, it's like that.
Strange.
Like that. Anyway, what was your question?
Anyhow,
I digress.
You did. So in the United States, what is the most popular Pringles flavor? That is the question.
In the U.S.?
What is it in the U.S.?
I only thought there was like 3 flavors. I didn't realize. I need to travel some more. Let me see.
There's actually 2, so you can pick one of 2.
1 of 2 flavors. What's the favorite 1 of 2 flavors in the United States for Pringles? 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. Here you go. In Asia, the salt and seaweed flavor, lemon and sesame. Whew. What else you got here? Prawn cocktail. Oh man, what else I got in Spain? I'm not gonna. Hummus. I could go. French consomme. I don't know what that is. 339-1140. Consomme. I don't eat at French restaurants. French fries. We'll be right back, Jack.
Talkin' money.
And we're back. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Right. How you doing? 9. Last segment of the first hour. We started at 9 o'clock.
We're talking potato chips and chocolate chip cookies.
And this is why we do. Our screener was questioning us in there. Why do you bring in so many interesting articles and you don't actually use them? Because in the first 45 minutes, people are still waking up. We want to get you going. We don't want you thinking too hard. This is why this show is so popular. You don't have to think in the first hour or the second hour. This is why Chris is actually in there. We hire someone that doesn't have to think. So our quiz question was, what is the most popular Pringle flavor in the United States?
That's correct.
And everything on the screen is like sour cream and onion, French onion, something, and onion. But is that right?
No.
Oh.
Think real basic.
Yeah, now barbecue would have been one, I would have guessed.
Yes.
So barbecue
that
was
is correct.
And I would have guessed just the natural, the plain, the original flavored.
Yeah, actually that isn't in the United States. That is a popular one in Southern Europe.
Okay.
Because they apparently put them in a bowl and eat it with hummus or cheese.
Okay.
So
Europeans, they're so
in the
particular.
United States, they also, and I haven't seen these, but apparently they've introduced some new flavors like the pumpkin pie spice and white chocolate peppermint.
Oh.
These are Pringles potato chips.
This is not appealing to me.
Yes.
So what was the other? So barbecue was number 1. What was the other one in the United States?
Cheese.
And this is, people think this is right out of, this is a full page
Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal article. I don't come up with the stuff on like digging out of the Twitter feeds of behind Christopher Laud's feed. These are real articles here. So we did get a couple winners to that, and we've got some River Cats tickets to give away today, and some people want to go tonight, so we'll figure all that out. I did see John had mentioned before the last break how there was a fake Twitter announcement about the White House. It caused a 145 bip drop for about 10 minutes in the market, and then back up again. And I did pick up this article, which I think is pretty interesting. So if you're following the stock market and things, and you're just getting your 401k statements, and like I just got mine in, it's like, wow, it actually went up. This is cool. I didn't have to work. Someone else worked for me. But you look at which stock categories, now not individual stocks, but which stock categories are really the highest leaders in terms of return. And it gives you a little indication of what people really think about the market. So the average return, let's see here, top year-to-date change in the S&P 500 sector. So this is year-to-date increases. So the average is about 9.1% increase. But you look at these categories: healthcare, consumer staples, utilities, and telecom services. Those four are all somewhere between 14 and 19% return. Now, what do those four represent? Healthcare, consumer staples, utilities, and telecom. Those are basically what people would consider a defensive stock. A stock that does well, even when everything else is kind of going to hell and back. You still generally have to go to the doctor. Generally have to buy some food and basic staples. You obviously got to turn your utilities on, and most of us consider our telephones and our cell phones to be like our right hand. In fact, I would rather lose two of my small fingers than lose my iPhone. And this is not. It's just embarrassing. It's like if I walk out without my phone out, it's like I almost get a little sick to my stomach. Oh my God, I can't find because everything is in there. And why is it so damn hard that I can't be away from my email for like 5 minutes? This is ridiculous. I'm embarrassed with myself. I'm sick of myself. Again,
I'm embarrassed for you.
I'm embarrassed for you. This is ridiculous. But anyway, you look at the stocks, and this is the people that watch the market are also watching this and saying, hey, look at your industrials and your financials and your consumer discretionary. They're doing okay, but they're not really leading the pack. And so those that are watching the market are saying, we're watching where the money's lining up, and they're watching where the returns are going. And we're saying, I don't think that the consumer and the investor really, really believe that we're back on track entirely yet. Because if they did, they'd invest in some of these other stocks that should be booming. And they're still kind of holding their bet in the four categories that are a defensive position. They're like, okay, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I'm going to keep my money over here. So I think that was kind of an interesting commentary or an interesting look into what the market thinks. I love to see what stock investors and bond investors and hedge fund managers where they put their money, because they're always looking not at today and tomorrow, and they're not looking at 5-minute blips on the Twitter. They are looking a year from now, 6 months to a year from now. Where do we think we'll be by Christmas time next year? And so that's always a good indication. This is going to be interesting. I think I have very mixed emotions on this. Let's use this as our between now and the end of the hour. Let's use this as our text 441140, our text question, if you will. We'll pick out a winner or pick out a replier and give them some roundtable pizza. So where are you on this topic? The tax-free shopping on the web. It appears it's going to come to an end. Late Thursday afternoon, in a 63-30 procedural vote, the Senate cleared the way for passage of a bill to effectively end tax-free shopping online. So where do you come out on tax-free shopping online? Should we fix the problem? So you have to. We always have this discussion when we're, because not only am I in my company, not only am I an employee of the company, I'm also an owner of the company. I'm also the chairman of the board. So I have to wear different hats. So you have to put on a different hat here when you're answering this question. As a consumer, where are you on the tax-free shopping online? We're all probably for, hey, I love to buy stuff tax-free. It saves me 7.75%. As I was telling John before the show, they ship it to my house free and clear. For free. I don't have to run around in my car and spend gas. I don't have to tie up, So that's good. But I didn't buy it from Water Ski World, which is on Greenback, and I know the guys. I was buying a tube for the girls who go tubing. So I could have got it at Water Ski World. I could have got it at Sports Chalet. And I wasn't, I don't know that. So I guess I'm trying to figure out in my own mind, did I not buy it there because I saved 7%, which was, let's just say $20? Or did I not buy it there because I was too damn busy and I didn't have the time to get all the way over to Greenback in the middle of the traffic on Sunrise and get it? So will this change anything? So we'll use this as our text 441140. Let's assume on Monday morning we wake up and you can no longer buy tax-free online. Anything. Still can get free shipping, but you cannot get it tax-free. Does that change your habit? Are you somebody who buys online anyway regardless? Does that change your habit? I'll tell you what it does change, which is what they're trying to do. It does change the Californians are, some of the biggest consumers, online consumers in the world. And now, where if we buy from a ski hut in Dubuque has to send the state of California my $20. And so the state of California is going to come out ahead on this at our expense, because those of us that aren't paying taxes now are going to have to pay some taxes. But so if I put on my state of California citizen hat, I say that's good, because we will, as a state, come out ahead and get more money from it. If I put on my consumer hat, I'm like, we're getting dinged again. And a lot of you are probably small business people that sell your widgets online. And I think that was some of the debate is that, okay, it's easy for Amazon to collect a tax, it's easy for Walmart to collect a tax, it's easy for, but the JFOD, who sells customized skate shoes, and they're making them one off, and you order them and he sends them, and for him to figure out how to send my 7% to California and Chris's 7% to North Dakota, and to do all that for a small business person is not easy. I mean, everybody's got their own rules. So, and I think that was the challenge is are we hampering a small business person who's really, and I didn't see, did anybody else catch in this article whether they exempted, it doesn't say in this article whether they exempted a certain small business or not. But we'll throw that out there at 441140 before we take the break at the end. Yes or no, will tax online change your shopping habits online? And if you don't shop online at all, you can say, hey, no, and because I don't shop online at all anyway. I do it simply because I just like to see the reviews of it. What if you're looking for an item, what are the reviews on it? What do everybody think about it? Does it last? And then you're right there. And
press the button, you order it, and shows up in a couple days.
That's the thing is it's like you if you're set up on Amazon, you have the one-click purchase. I mean, your credit card's already in file. And I think I even hit the button wrong. I wanted to see some of the things. I hit the boom. Congratulations! You own a new yacht. It'll be in your yard in the morning. So you got to be careful because you'll get it fairly easily. So we'll let that hang out there a little bit too, and we'll read your questions and answers there on the 441140, and we'll pick out somebody and give them some Roundtable Artisan Pizza before the end of the show today. I'll wrap up my last miscellaneous stuff, and then the next hour it's just strictly mortgage stuff. And also some items on remodeling, which I think are very, very interesting because, to give you the executive summary, after listening to this, you won't touch a damn thing in your house because you don't get any of your money back. And so I guess you have to do it. If you're not doing it for your own personal enjoyment of the place, don't do it as far as an investment because you won't recoup your money. I did see this week, and this goes back a couple weeks here, that the federal government filed the 28-page complaint against Lance Armstrong on Tuesday. The details the lying, cheating, and manipulation by the former cyclists for the sake of winning. Duh. And Armstrong earned $17.9 million salary as a cyclist for 6 years, much of it paid by the U.S. Postal Service. And they are trying to seek damages of $120 million. So we paid him $17, we want $120 back. Interesting. Because I'm not using the Postal Service now because I'm just so pissed that Lance Armstrong did drugs. I will not mail anything anymore. I don't mail anything anyway. Hey, we got to take a quick break. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. Will the online tax bill stop you from shopping online? That's JFOD. I'm JT. This is Talkin' Money. We're going to be
right back, Jack.
CBS Sports 1140. This is CBS Sports 1140, home of the Sacramento Kings.
Talkin' money!
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Right. How you doing? Hour 2 of 2. I hope you just, if you're just joining us, welcome. We do start at 9. We expect you on time, but, well, if you got a note from your mommy, we'll take that. We're on to something here, I think. At our text at 441140. Before the break, if you're just tuning in, I threw out the question, and we can still take more answers in your comments. The Senate voted this week to end tax-free sales online, which really was kind of a fluke when they set some of the laws back. I think 10 years ago or something. The online business was so minimal, there really wasn't any loss. It had no impact, but certainly that has changed over time. My question is for you at the text line 441140. If or when the tax law changes and you have to pay tax online, will you still shop online? And will you still use that as a service? And then I'm going to change that up in just a minute, too, but we'll go through some of those. I did have one text from Jason. Jason was down in the Elk Grove area. Jason texted us and said, hey, Jason also plays the drums, apparently. Jason said, hey, I run a small business online. If I have to pay tax in each county, I'll shut it down. And then we called Jason up. Jason, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Are you working on a Saturday morning or what?
Yes, I am.
So,
I'm going to be the house inspector.
Oh, there you go. So Jason texted us, and if you don't think we see your phone numbers when you text us, so when you text me rude stuff, I know who you are. But Jason didn't text us anything rude. He just said, hey, I run a small business online cart. So what does a business online cart mean, Jason? What do you do?
One of the companies I work for, we have an online presence with a shopping cart. Maybe about 15% of our sales volume comes from that online store.
Okay.
From my initial understanding with the Senate bill, if the online store sells to certain counties throughout the country, they would be responsible for collecting the sales tax for that specific county.
Okay.
Being that our sales derive directly from the online shopping cart are not large enough to make sense to track every single sale for each county.
Right.
We would probably be inclined to shut that service down to our customers.
So you would then, so it doesn't mean you necessarily close your business, but at least that function of what you guys sell, it just becomes not fiscally, it's not worth the effort.
Yeah, because when I briefly scanned through the information on the Senate bill, I didn't go through it in depth, but it appears that if you sell to out of state in a different county, you would have to collect that county sales tax and report to that county.
Right. And are you doing sales outside of California? Are you actually having currently sales throughout the country?
We do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's so in your case it's a consumer service. It's kind of a nice feature, but not big enough and doesn't generate enough cash to say we can afford to add on another layer of. I mean, you'd have to have an individual
full-blown employee to track each county in every state.
And then you got to file the forms for that county. You got to remit the money to them. And so you're looking at a full-time gig there just for what in Jason's case is 15% of their business, which they probably would get anyway. You just wouldn't do it through the online, I'm guessing.
Correct. Yeah, it would just generate a sale over the phone versus online.
Okay, interesting. Jason, I appreciate your input and your comments there, and we've got your name. We're going to send you some RiverCast tickets for participating along today, and now get back to work, would you?
Yeah, thank you. Have a great Saturday.
All right, Jason, see you.
Bye.
Out there pushing the economy along, unlike you and I, who are pushing our waistlines along these cookies here, by the way. So some more off the text line at 441140. You can jump in if you'd like. It changes a little bit, but shopping online still allows you to go around and look for the best deal. True. But I have yet to find a retailer, if you have done your homework, and it depends on what the item is. For me, some of those higher price items, I like to see them in person. I like to, is it really how it appears? And I have yet to find a local retailer who, if you walked in with them and you're educated and you said, hey, I've been shopping this computer, let's say online, thing looks pretty cool, wanted to see it. You guys have it here. And I mean, every time you do that, someone will ask you, well, what are you seeing? What price are you seeing? Let me see what you got. Let me make sure we're talking about apples for apples. John and I do this every day, all day long. People shop mortgages online every day, all day long. Are we talking about the same thing? Are we talking about all the same fees? And without question, my clients, for the most part, always like to say, I like to deal with someone local. I know who you guys are. I know where I can find you. If you guys can get close to this, I'd like to deal with you. Great. And I find the same thing whether you're buying computers or home remodel stuff, it doesn't matter. Most of them are willing to get you pretty close if they can. So what else we got here? No, I'll continue to shop. I'll pay for the convenience. No change for online purchasing. Paying the tax will be less than paying for gas. We had a FedEx worker text in. I work for FedEx as a driver. My customers tell me if they are taxed, they will not shop online as much. Okay. So
I still think there's a big convenience factor.
So here, I asked John this during the break. This is where I think I got you. If all of a sudden online shopping didn't have free delivery,
game changer.
That they're done. I mean they are done. Because all of a sudden now you're saying, okay, it's this. I can probably go to this. I can go to Water Ski World and get the tube for the same price. Or I can get them close to the price. I'm going to pay the tax anyway, and now I got it. It's in my hands. I can go this weekend. I don't have to wait 7 days for the free shipping. So I think the shipping, quite frankly, I think it's a bigger deal than the tax, and in many cases, it's more money than the tax on an item to have it shipped. So I think the free shipping would kill them if they stopped that. But it doesn't look like the sales tax will maybe change people's habits too much. And now let me tell you what this means. Because until you put it in numbers, you don't have an idea. You couldn't find the and I don't. John and I were looking up I think in 2012, John, because of the tax increases in California and some other changes, I don't think they're projecting a budget deficit this year.
They're not.
But we have been living with deficits for every single year for as long as we can recall. Now take a look at this. States say they're losing big money to online and catalog sales that escape their sales tax. States with the widest estimated losses projected for in 2012, so last year, the state of California calculated they lost $4.16 billion in revenue. And that
in non-charge sales tax.
In tax that did in items that were purchased online or through catalog sales that were not taxed for California residents. So $4.16 billion. The next closest is Texas at $1.7 billion. So when I say which hat are you wearing, if you're putting on your consumer hat, I get it. I mean, I don't want to pay anything I don't have to pay. I want everything to be for free and delivered to me for free. I'm no different than anybody else. But if I take that hat off and I put on my state of California hat, as I mentioned when I was in Florida today, why are these roads so damn good and ours are so bad? Why are some of our schools getting dilapidated? You can name the things that are going on. Why? Well, here's 4.16 billion reasons why that that would help solve some of those issues. And if you are looking at future income tax issues and you're getting tired of paying more income tax, then you cannot complain about this. Because there are many of us who believe we should not have an income tax in the state of California, and actually federally, myself included. I would love to have a user's tax, or maybe a flat tax for the income tax, but a user's tax, and that's where is you buy a car, you pay as you go. It encourages savings, but it also you pay as you go. If you're a rich guy and you're out buying a $100,000 boat, you're going to pay a lot of taxes on it. If you're just trying to get by and pay your groceries on a daily basis, your taxes are limited, but it's based on a consumption tax. Well, this will go a long way to helping us keep our income taxes down. We can pull $4.16 billion back in the door in sales tax.
That's a bigger number than I expected.
That's huge. I mean, it dwarfs. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. It dwarfs the next 4 states combined. I mean, the average state probably loses about $1 billion to less than $1 billion a year, like that small amount of money. But in California, it is ginormous, and that's an official word, ginormous. So the question now becomes: is what do our legislators do with the $4.16 billion of money that's coming in the door? Can they keep their grubby hands off of it and actually solve some real problems? My answer: not likely. Not likely. We got to take our first break of the hour. 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. We'll keep that going. So I'm going to part B of my question for the text question is, if they stop free shipping, is online sales completely done? Or do you just still like the convenience of having it shipped to your house? 441140 if you want to answer that. We have a couple phone lines open if you want to jump in today. 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. We're going to talk some real estate, talk some foreclosure. There's some foreclosure money coming back. What happens if Fannie Mae goes away? We saw a little look at that this week, too. And also we'll clean up your house a little bit. I'll show you some things to do and don't. Johnny's got a quiz question for you there. Speaking of investments, huh?
Yes. Everybody's got to be thinking on this one a little bit. This is talking about, there was a survey done around the world.
Okay.
On which country or what was, if your standard of living, you had a choice. You could either take a chance and increase your standard of living by 50%.
Okay.
Or obviously lose that standard of living by 50%.
Okay, so they put out a survey question, and it doesn't necessarily mean your income. But I mean, they're talking about your full standard of living. So you know, I mean, if you could make your life 50% better,
your house, your car, your dining, your clothes you wear, etc.
Okay.
If you could increase that by 50%, would you be willing to do it? But the other side of it is, if you lost, you're going to reduce it.
Yeah, and so they were really looking into your kind of your mental picture of making investments. Like, okay, here's an investment opportunity for you. If this thing goes well, you're 50% better off. If it tanks, you're 50% worse off. And that's almost like the lottery. Except with the lottery, you're only out $1 if it doesn't go your way. But okay, so they want to know what country?
Which country had the biggest, yes, they will go for the 50% increase.
The most aggressive investors, huh?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140. That's a hard question to get out, but basically, which country is the most aggressive investors? They would be willing to risk a 50% increase, or risk a 50% decrease to get a 50% increase. So that's a big one. That's a big swing there if it didn't go your way.
It's pretty interesting.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140. If you're on hold, please wait there. We got you coming up next. This is Talkin' Money. My name's Jeff. That's John. We're going to be
right back, Jack.
Talkin' Money!
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Howdy. Our question still hangs out there at 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140. Someone was on the right path, and then we got off the right path there, so I'll give that to a clue.
Which country is willing to take the most risk to increase their standard of living?
50%.
50%.
At risk of losing 50%. And every country that you could think of was on that list. So 339-1140, or you can text us at 44-1140. Let's get to Doug. Doug's been holding patiently there in Orangevale. Doug, what's happening?
Good. How you doing? I want to talk about the internet tax.
Yeah.
First of all, I know you think California would be responsible if they did $4 billion to spend it responsibly?
No. that was my point. Is if you give them $4 billion, they're going to figure out a way to screw it up and another $1 billion on top of it just for good measure.
They would lower part of our sales tax if they got that $4 billion?
No.
Now, what's the next thing to do? Are they going to start going by garage sales and make sure people are charging for garage sale purchases and people who sell stuff on Craigslist?
Well,
I think it's, I would probably still shop online, but I think, it's going to put a lot of people out of businesses because like the last guy said, each county has their own tax structure. So someone's got to sit there and send all these little checks to all these little counties throughout the U.S.
Yeah,
I think it's one more tax that a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford.
Yeah, I think that what'll happen is you probably will have to be responsible to send your taxes in on a quarterly basis, and I think what'll happen is for the small consumer or for the small retailer, they'll probably change their habits a little bit, which will mean, we don't sell. I mean, our online sales are for California only, or we only handle these areas, and they'll probably limit their sales. You could look around and say, okay, 90% of our sales come from this area, so we'll continue to serve this area, and they won't allow a purchase outside of that area. One way of kind of monitoring how you do business. I keep hearing that it'll close businesses down and it'll shut people down, and I want to I don't want to believe that, but I understand that, but I have yet to see an entrepreneur You put a hurdle in front of them, they jump over it. You put a bigger hurdle.
What's going to happen? I think someone's going to set up maybe you set up an online mailbox in Oregon where that's tax-free. Everything's shipped there, and then the company is going to ship everything from there to you at a discount price.
Yeah,
so that's what might end up happening. People are going to set up bogus, P.O. boxes in tax-free sales tax states, and then they'll have to pay. They'll get shipping free there, but they're going to have to pay their own shipping from there to there. But if it's a large purchase, it's still going to be worth it.
I mean, here I am on my 4th chocolate chip cookie this morning, and my brain's going at full speed. Right now, I'm thinking, okay, why don't I set up a business that caters to small online businesses? And so I'll set up a system that can draw out all your sales activity, and it'll automatically tell you, you'll cut me one check for $8,000, and I'll distribute out all the little taxes you got to do, because I'm going to do John's business, Chris's business. I'm going to do all these small mom and pop businesses, and I'm going to cut one check to to Placer County or to the state of California or whoever, and I'm going to cut one in North Dakota and in Oregon, and I'm going to do all that. And so there's going to be, unlike the public sector, that when you tell them they have to cut their budget 5%, they throw their hands in the air and they say, "Oh my God, you're screwing us." The real world looks at an idea and says, "Okay." Our previous caller said, "Okay, we probably, we'll just cut off that business because it's a small portion of our business. It doesn't matter." Somebody else is going to look at that and say, as an opportunity, and say, "I'm going to figure out how to do this. It's going to make things better for me." I mean, the money's not coming out of the retailer's pocket. It's coming out of the consumer's pocket. Now, where I think, Doug, you might be onto something is that if all of a sudden John's tennis shoe, Chris's tennis shoe online, are basically the same price as what I can go find it for in the store, and it's convenient for me to go to the store, then, I won't order it online. I'll just go get it at the store. It doesn't save me that much money other than a little shipping. So John might lose some sales because of that. But I don't know.
The guy that said, that's only 15% of his company's business.
Correct.
Fine, great. You knock off that 15% of the company. How many employees is that company going to let go because they're losing 50% employees?
Right.
15% of a company's business is a lot.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So but I just think where one person is going to say that's not working for me, somebody else is going to say I see another opportunity. We're going to see a shift. And some companies are going to get a little bigger, some companies are going to get a little smaller. I don't think you're going to see it decimate anything.
I would like to see get rid of the state income tax and just go to use your tax. I think that would be fair, and I think actually bring in more money to the state.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I don't think it will happen. And there are people that will tell you that, Jeff, you're an idiot. If we go to a user tax, it'll kill our economy, because now all of a sudden, you'll look at John's $100 pair of shoes and you'll say, well, hell, those aren't $100. They're $115. And so do I really want to spend $115 on those shoes, or should I just keep my money in the bank? So there are people that believe that a user tax will actually slow the economy down because it'll make us double think about, wow.
It's going to tax everyone fairly. I mean, right now.
Yeah. No, you're right. It does.
People don't pay any state tax, and it's just the people that actually are producing.
That's right. I agree. Okay, Doug, I'll put you back on hold. We'll give you your choice of some Round Table Pizza or some River Cats tickets. A good question, and I appreciate the cooperation there, jumping in on a Saturday, and lots of good items there. Speaking of, did we get a winner yet? I don't think we did get a winner. I tell you, I'm gonna give it to the 916, because the question was, it's got to be a country with a lot of poverty. I'll assume China wasn't polled, and I'll guess India. But China was polled,
and China was the answer.
China was the answer, and our texter there was I think on the right on the money. It's like, if you have nothing to lose, you'll have everything to gain. And
yeah, it's interesting too, because the article also shows on the other side a survey of who has the greatest propensity for regret. So China, as a risk taker, also is in the bottom row of Okay.
The least okay. So I got you. So if you make a decision and it's bad, I mean, which country just dwells on their bad mistakes? And China was toward the bottom of that list, huh?
Top
So they're like, okay, screw it, man. We're going for it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Exactly.
So where does the United States fall on these lists?
So the top few are China, Vietnam, Netherlands, Taiwan, Turkey, and then down average, U.S. is actually below the average picking. So about in the middle.
Okay, in the middle. And then where are we on the? I would think we would be higher on the regret list.
On the regret list, we're about the top 4th.
Okay. All right, so there you go. So China was
Italy, Estonia, Israel, Germany, France, Netherlands, U.S.
The Italians, you're Italian. You just can't get over. You
can't
let
get
it go.
over it.
You just can't.
Just gotta let it.
Should I have the artisan pizza or should I have the Jimbo? I don't know.
Just eat it.
Just shut up and eat your taco. So there you go. So we'll give that because we did have one that was very close on the 916 from the 916. We'll call him out and give him some artisan flatbread pizza. We can do that too. Speaking of China, this is very interesting. So China is now setting a home ownership curb or limit on how many homes you can own in China. And the reason they're doing this is they don't want China to become like the United States did with kind of this real estate bubble. So they are limiting second homes, investment properties you can buy. They're dramatically increasing. This is the government saying to their citizens, you can only own a home or maybe one or two. And then you want to go beyond that, the down payment goes skyrocketing high, and then they'll just stop. They don't want people making all these investment decisions in real estate and having it create a bubble, producing the prices too high. So average home prices in Beijing and Shanghai changed from a year earlier. Last year, we're up almost 15%. Now, that sounds like a lot. Where's your Zillow? Where's your Zillow article? So in China, a 15% increase in prices caused the government, their federal government, to shut down investment and speculation in real estate. Now, where were we, according to your Zillow article there?
20.1%.
In our area?
In our area, Sacramento.
So we had
annual increase in the top 5 metropolitan areas. We have Phoenix, Las Vegas, San Jose, San Francisco, and Sacramento, all over 20%.
Wow. But Zillow seeing, I thought the article, when you look at the heading, looks like things are cooling down. But
it's talking about unsustainable. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're looking at the company's home value index rose 5.1% in the first quarter of 2013. But they're looking at now some areas starting to cool down a little bit too, but not Sacramento. So a 20% increase in home prices in our area. And of course, the areas that they mentioned, where was that list you were looking at? Phoenix, Las Vegas, except for San Jose and San Francisco, and Sacramento were pretty far down. I mean, they had gone overboard on the downward pricing, and so we're 20% up. But that's why I mentioned last week, and if you didn't catch that, if you're somebody who bought a home in 2011, and maybe you bought it on like a short sale, so you maybe were even in contract for like 6 or 7 months by the time you actually closed. I mean, you set a price for a house that was 2.5 years ago almost now, and if you only put down 3.5 or 5%, you may in fact, if we had a 20% increase, you may in fact have 20% equity in your house now. And I encourage you to look at your statement. Are you paying mortgage insurance, either private mortgage insurance or FHA MIP? If you are, look at your address, go to Zillow's website or Redfin or call John or I, do something, figure out what you think that house is worth today. And whatever Zillow or those sites say, you maybe even add a couple, $3,000 to that because it's been going up and up. And look and see, do I have 20% equity in that house? And if you do, you have a double whammy good event going on because rates have held flat. So usually what happens is that not only does the market increase, but rates go up, and you go, oh, well, I got a 4% or 5% mortgage, and I don't want a higher rate to get rid of the PMI. But you can probably pick up a half to a point drop in rate, but drop that mortgage insurance, which for the most part, for many people, is not a tax deduction anymore at certain income levels. So are you paying, I don't know, $80, $90, $100, $200, $400 a month in mortgage insurance? Is this going down the drain? So take that, take a 1% drop in your rate and get rid of the PMI. That could be a hell of a deal.
Seeing a lot of that. Like you said, those that purchased a short sale 2011, even I've had, into 12, early 12, 2000, definitely.
Yeah.
A lot of value there.
And what I'm seeing is a lot of people, so FHA, their mortgage insurance, as it sits right now, is a mandatory for 5 years. And then starting in June, it's going to be mandatory for a lifetime. So what we're seeing a lot of people doing is getting out of FHA, not going into FHA to begin with, or getting out of FHA, even if they still have mortgage insurance, and getting into conventional mortgage insurance because the monthly premium is lower, and getting out of it is theoretically easier. There is no time window. Most of them will say at least a year, but people are looking around going, okay, I could see myself in 24 months having this house appraised and being out of mortgage insurance.
I've also seen a lot of clients just doing a single premium where we actually buy out of it. So they're paying up front for the mortgage insurance, never have it, never will, and seeing so much more of that in the last 3-4 months.
Yep. Yeah, I have done more of those too. And to give you an idea, the payback on that's about 3.5 years, somewhere in there. So so instead of saying, okay, I'll pay $100 a month in mortgage insurance, you say, okay, I'll pay $4,000 right now. Don't even give me PM. I don't even want mortgage insurance.
Not have to try and get out of it. Not have to go through all that hassle.
Don't have to qualify for it on a payment.
Right.
If you're tight. And so, yeah, just taking a one-time shot at it, say, I'm just done with it. And you're right. I've seen more of those probably in the year that I've ever seen in a career. So that is an option as well. And if you've got the cash or can get it, great option to do. So, yeah, some interesting things going on. We can talk about those some more, too. We've got a couple other things to cover here a little bit before the break. 339-1140 is our number here in the studio. You can text us at 44-1140. You got any more quiz questions, or are you all tapped out for the hour? No, you're good? We got to take a break at the hat. What do you got there?
Crazy costs that are coming. Let's see here. Let's see how we can turn this into something.
You better read that. We'll take a break. We'll come back and do that one at the mid-break. This is Talkin' Money. We're going to take a break at the half-hour mark here. A couple phone lines open if you want to jump in today. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140. There is no such thing as a stupid question. Only John's idiotic reply while I sit here and make fun of him and laugh at him.
We'll come back with some weird state laws.
State laws that are in effect?
Weird ones.
Weird ones. Okay. This is Talkin' Money. We're going to be right back.
Talkin' Money!
And we're back. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
It's a new mix here.
Yeah. Just reading through our Talkin' Money Facebook page. Lots of good posts and comments there today, too, if you want to jump in. And that's where you can find the previous shows. We do post them there. People were asking if we post them on iTunes. I do not. Because we'd be forced to go in and take out all of the music you just heard there. Because it's not individually tagged. So we had to quit using iTunes. So we post them on the Talkin' Money Facebook page. You can get the podcast there. Or you can email me. We have a podcast list that goes out every Monday that has the shows on them, too.
So when faced with a problem, you didn't just get rid of it. You found a different way.
I came a different way around doing it, right. Now, I will be singing all of the songs myself going forward in order to keep us on iTunes.
But you'll have to pay for people will have to pay for that.
Yeah, they'll have to pay extra cash because I'm so good. I got skills. This was from Daniel on the Talkin' Money link. We're talking about internet sales and taxes. And he posted this. He said, I had to get out of the car and couldn't continue listening. The internet services used by small retailers, so I'm guessing like the Amazons of the world, will take care of the tax collection and remittance for you, yes, at a minor cost. You just have to keep good detailed records of what's been withheld. So, right there. I mean, Amazon doesn't want to lose their sellers. They're going to figure out a way. Okay, we got to collect tax. Let's help them do it. I mean, we don't want them just to quit and go away. So there goes my business plan. Shot. 3 cookies in, I'm already out of business.
One step ahead of you.
I'm out of business. That guy, the Bezos guy, his name's Jeff, too. He's a little smarter than me. And by the way, Jeff, plenty of businesses have already gone out of business due to the current system of online businesses not collecting tax. Photography is an example. Many, many people are going to buy that expensive camera online, no sales tax, from a place like New York. Camera shops are either gone or hanging on by a thread in most high-tax states. I'd much rather see the tax and the retailer's markup stay in California. No question about it. You talk about people going out of business. We've already lost a lot of businesses. I was trying. It's so funny that I was trying to find a lens this week, like a telephoto lens, so I could shoot my daughter's lacrosse from the stands because and I've got one that came with a camera, so you can see her, but she looks like that big in the. I wanted one like. Like not like the ESPN ones, like as big as a house, but I wanted one I could actually see who was in the damn picture. I went to like the Fry's, Fry's is like, dude, we have like two sizes, this and that, and then I looked around, who sells camera stuff in our area anymore? Maybe Philco might. I didn't get down there. I mean, you can't find it. I can find it online all over the place. And then I realized, damn, those things are expensive. I'm going to go with the little picture, so your daughter only looks like a little widget. or I'll just get my fat butt up and walk down the stairs farther and get a little closer photo rather than say to myself, "There's like $1,500 for these things." I'm not doing that. Tax or no tax, delivery or no tax. That's a lot. So I was just gonna go on something. Oh, here we go. Speaking of taxes, so this is I've been carrying around this week. Did you see this? And I posted this on our Talkin' Money Facebook page also. So we were asking, would you stop doing online sales if you had to pay the tax online? And most people, it looks like, are saying probably no. If you stop the shipping, I'm guessing the answer would be yes. But how about this? Would you stop buying a house if you couldn't write off the interest? Because that is a proposal right now in the House. Is it mortgage interest deduction to go away? So would you and do you contemplate or do you consider the tax savings to you of home ownership? Is that why you buy a house?
I think it's a proponent for sure.
So if you're renting a house, you're not getting a tax deduction. And currently, in many cases, and this is going to change again, but at the moment, the cost of ownership and the cost of renting are very, very close. That's why home ownership in our area is so attractive right now. If you're someone who's paying, $1,200 or $1,400 for rent, theoretically, you could find, there are houses in that price range. They're getting snapped up quick, but you could find a house where your payment was pretty close to your rent. So in that instance where you're not really maybe stretching your living expense, maybe not having a tax deduction isn't the end of the world. You're not getting one now. But I think that the people who are going from $1,400 rent to maybe a $2,000 house payment, that's a big jump, are figuring, okay, well, at least a couple $100 a month of that will be in tax savings, so I could either reduce my withholding on a monthly basis or I'll get a check at the end of the month. But at least it helps me bridge that gap a little bit. And I think in that case it probably does make a difference. The House Ways and Means Committee is saying, well, most people, don't actually get to take the benefit of the mortgage interest deduction anyway because they itemize and it gets dropped off after alternative minimum tax, blah, blah, blah. But in 2009, 35 million taxpayers, or 70% of the homeowners with a mortgage interest deduction, were able to take it. So I think you can sit back there in your ivory chair and say, well, yeah, nobody's ever using it. Yeah, there's some people that don't get it or don't get the full benefit. And it's one of those things, too, where even if you don't get the full benefit because your income phases out, you still in your own mind believe that you're getting it. Or getting some interest deduction, or at least you believe, okay, if I have a crappy year income-wise, I'll get the deduction. But if they're going to do it, if they're going to change the mortgage interest deduction, first of all, I think that they will only do it like other things. They'll do it for certain income levels up. I think they'll leave it for kind of which is so really.
Yeah, it already phases out in certain areas anyway.
Yeah, and so they probably will back that up a little bit and reduce it. I do believe that. So they're going to leave it for the first-time buyer who has the lesser abilities to actually take the advantage of it. There's a lesser impact for them. But nonetheless, I think that it will be around in some aspect or another. They figure that it would probably, eliminating the mortgage interest deduction, or MID, would raise taxes by about $700 per household per year, as across the board. Would be the actual net out of pocket. Now that's across the board.
Okay.
That means you got a person who's got a $70,000 mortgage and a person who's got a $700,000 mortgage, because the person with the $700,000 mortgage probably isn't getting it anyway in their income. So, so let me know if you want. We got a few minutes left today. 441140. We've been doing well here with the text line at 441140. If all of a sudden we wake up Monday morning, so Monday's going to be a hell of a day for us, because Monday we're losing our sales tax revenue. Our online sales tax, free sales tax, I should say, or no sales tax. If you wake up Monday morning and you no longer can write off your interest deduction, if you're already in a house, then too bad. You're screwed. You got the house. But you're in escrow Monday morning. Now, do you back out? I think that at the end of the day, the answer is no. I don't think it changes anything. People don't buy a house because they can possibly save a couple $1,000s on their taxes at the end of the year in a mortgage interest deduction. That's not why they do it. They buy a house because they want to be in a certain school district. They want to pick up on John's 20% Zillow appreciation. This is peanuts compared to what people have made in the last couple of years.
Yeah, very true.
So, do I want to see it go away? No. I'm not in favor of any tax. So every time that you allow someone to take one, it's just one more tick on your headboard there of getting all your money passed along. But do I think it will wipe out home sales? No, I don't. I don't think it'll help, but I don't think it'll be as big of a hurt as you think. Because quite frankly, if I can be very honest, most people don't know what the hell a tax deduction is anyway. I mean, until the end of the year when they put the numbers in their computer, they don't even know what they're getting or not getting.
Right.
And
was there advantage to it or not? Was it phased out? Did the standard deduction override it?
I mean, I never, and I used to do it more in the past. I never go into any depth at all on the potential tax savings you're going to get. I don't encourage people to reduce their withholding on a monthly basis to accommodate for it. I barely mention it at all. And it's going to be kind of a side effect bonus at the end of the year because I also don't mention, owning a home and making the payments is just one step of many expenses. And so while that's a credit to them, there are other things that you do and you do that you don't incur when you're a renter. And so it's important, and that's why, folks, the lending community doesn't want you to spend more than, as a total number, 40% of your total expense on your house and other things too, because we realize that that's 40% of your gross income. The government's going to pickpocket you for your taxes, and besides your house payment of $1,500 a month, damn it, there are other utilities and there are other things that happens and things break, and you want new blinds in the house, and we know that. So we're protecting you from yourself. You're protecting you from yourself, and I'll bring this up. Two things while I'm on that topic. Do we have another break to take, Chris, or no? We're good. Okay. So one thing I'm seeing, speaking of renting versus owning, is I've seen more of this now just this last week than I have, which is a great strategy. If you are renting your house and you want to become a home buyer, ask your landlord if they'll sell you the house, if you like it. And you don't think about it. You think, well, I got to go out and find myself a house. And maybe the place you're in is a total, POS, piece of junk. And you're like, I would never live here. But maybe it's in the neighborhood you do like, and maybe you look around and you say, God, I can't find anything in my price range. Ask your landlord. And we've had a couple people this week that were looking. They finally just went to the landlord and said, you know what? We're trying to buy a house. We just can't find one. And the owner of the house said, you want to buy this one? So there are people that are landlords, like myself, they're landlords by default. I do not want to be a landlord anymore. If my tenants came to me and asked if they could buy the house, I would kiss their damn feet. The problem is that the house won't appraise for anything anywhere close to what I owe on a couple of them. But ask, because there's a lot of people that moved out of their houses and bought something else and have just been waiting for the market to pick back up. Your landlord might not even know their house is worth as much as it is. So ask them. Because if that person sells you the house, there's likely no realtor. That's money saved by both of you. And the more crucial part is that there's actually a house you could make an offer on. You don't got to be, you won't be outbid on it. So ask that question. Number one, that came up a couple times this week. And number two, speaking of loans and loan quality, this came up not only with me twice this week, but also with a couple other people that we're talking to that don't work for us, and all lamenting about the same thing. And as it gets tighter and tighter, and the pressure's on, you finally outbid somebody. John's finally in contract, and it's taken forever. And we got the deal done. The realtor has shown you 55 houses, and you've been outbid on 54 and a half of them. Everybody's tired of, they're just tired and want to just get this thing done. And that is really the start of the process. That is not the end. Now, hopefully, John and his lender have gotten together, and John's got his paperwork together. But this loan still has to go through underwriting. We had this come up this week, and it's frustrating. But there's no lender in the world. And basically, what we were asked was, would you fund a loan now? And we're missing a couple things, and the seller's ready to go, and we're ready to go, and you guys are someone's holding it up for something. It doesn't matter what it is, for whatever it is. And why wouldn't you guys just fund the loan? You guys can make a judgment call and just fund the loan and get this later. Or if you don't get it, then don't worry about it. And I will tell you this, and I'll tell this to everybody. On an individual basis, there is no one loan worth making a loan for. And what I mean by that is that in the past, you just say, what the hell? We're making loans and we're making lots of them. And so if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. There was not really any blowback for making a bad decision. And the world is so different now that our company, Wells Fargo, Chase, pick a company, I don't care who it is, whether they're making with their own money or they're selling the loans off or they're brokering it to somebody, it doesn't matter. There is nobody willing to make a loan knowingly missing something, or a loan that is not ready to be funded, an incomplete package, whatever you want to call it, because the payback and the penalty is so great for being wrong that I know the realtor wants to get their commission, and they know they earned it, and they worked their butt off, and I got it. I know the buyer wants to get in the house. I know the seller wants to get the hell out and get their money. But the reality is that our industry cannot fund loans that should not be funded or are not ready to be funded anymore. And that is in part how we got into trouble in the past. And there's pressure on now to repeat some of that. Just do it. We got to get this done. There's 3 offers behind us. We got to get it done. I would rather go out of business. It's cheaper for me to close down shop because I can't find any good quality clients than to make loans that are bad. And until you understand that, until you understand how the penalties are so phenomenal. So I'm going to make, let's just take an example. I'm going to make a $250,000 loan to you that I know isn't qualified or isn't ready to be funded yet. So I can make $3,000 and you can make 10. There's no way in hell. Because that $250,000 loan will be back in my lap next Thursday, or I'll never get it out of my lap. And I only have to do that a couple times, and then where we get our money, your lines of credit say, Jeff, you're not getting your loan sold. Well, I made a couple loans that weren't ready to go. Well, guess what, dumbass? You're not using our money anymore to make loans because you were funding loans you weren't ready to make. So you can sit on that. And I know guys that have put millions, with an S, of dollars back into their company because they had loans they couldn't sell. And they're out of business. So our industry has to protect itself and from the consumers and from the realtors and from all kinds of influences, good, bad, or indifferent. Everybody has good intentions. I really believe that. People aren't saying let's do inappropriate stuff. It's got to be ready, and it's only ready when it's ready. And sometimes it just doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't seem like there's any logic to it. But you're like,
right, that one silly, ridiculous thing that you need, but it's that important.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with what we're seeing with people who have filed their tax returns now, and the IRS hasn't got the tax return reported yet. So you give me your tax return that you made up on your own Quicken program, whatever, and John says I made $148,000 last year. Okay. But how do I know that he just didn't make that up to qualify? And until the IRS can tell you, yes, we verified the same amount, there's a lag time right now. All these tax returns were just filed. That's a big one. And lenders won't buy these loans from you. And I got a real good ass chewing from a buddy of mine, David, this week about how hard it is to sell a loan that has even one little thing missing on it, and how it pollutes the rest of the package because you have to disclose those things. So anyway, just be patient. I promise you there's a logic behind it for everybody. This goes for every company. There's a logic behind the way things are going, and it's meant to protect our industry and all of us from going through this again. Otherwise, the Chinese government will only let us buy one house, even though they're the least regretful. And that music means we got to go. I didn't even get to this. We're going to cover this next week, I promise. The items you should and should not do in a remodel.
Yes.
And how much money you'll get back, particularly if you're getting ready to put your house on the market. We'll talk about that as well. That is it for another Saturday. We got a lot of stuff we didn't cover again. We got a lot of stuff we did. And for all those of you that jumped in, Action Camera in Roseville, excellent store. Okay, I'm going to Action Camera in Roseville today. I'm going to ride my bike over there right now. I don't know where it is, but I will find it. Thank you very much. We appreciate you guys just joining us and calling in, and we had a great time. We'll see you next Saturday, everybody. For John Fodorero, my name is Jeff Tarbell. Aloha. See ya.
Talking money.